A black woman kneels in a Seoul cemetery, rain mixing with her tears. Her 2-year-old daughter stands beside her, too young to understand the gravestone shows 2 names. A man. And a baby. Both died the same day. Behind them, a Korean grandmother approaches. Places a hand on the black woman's shoulder. They don't speak. 11 months ago, this woman was a stranger hired to carry a child. Today, she's the only family they have left. And the baby she gave birth to? He died in his father's arms while she watched, helpless, knowing she'd been paid 50 million won to create a life that lasted exactly 2 months. This is the story of how love, money, and desperation killed 2 people. And saved 1 child. But at a cost no one should ever have to pay. Welcome to Afro Soul Romance Tales, where love crosses borders and breaks hearts. Before we begin this journey, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? What time is it for you right now? And if you believe some stories are too painful to be called romance, but we tell them anyway because they're real, hit that subscribe button. You'll need it for what's coming. Her name was Ella Okonkwo, 27 years old, Nigerian. And she was holding a doctor's report that might as well have been a death sentence. Severe pulmonary fibrosis, the Korean doctor said, his English heavily accented, but clear enough. Your daughter's lungs are failing. Without treatment, 6 months. Maybe less. Ella stared at the medical scan. Lili's tiny lungs looked like crumpled paper. White spots where there should be clear tissue. Death blooming inside her baby's chest. What kind of treatment? Ella asked. Her voice sounded calm. Strange. Like it belonged to someone else. Experimental therapy. Stem cell treatment. Very expensive. How expensive? The doctor hesitated. 8 million won. Minimum. Could be more. 8 million. Ella had 17,000 won in her bank account. She did the math in her head. She'd need to work for 3 years without eating, without paying rent, without breathing, to save that much. And if I don't have the money? She asked. The doctor's face said everything. Ella walked out of Seoul Medical Center holding Lili's small hand. Her daughter skipped beside her, singing a Korean nursery rhyme she'd learned at the free daycare. She didn't know, didn't understand that her body was betraying her, that every breath was borrowed time. Mama, ice cream? Lili asked, pointing at a street vendor. Not today, baby. Tomorrow. Ella's throat closed. Would there be a tomorrow? How many tomorrows did they have left? Maybe she lied. Maybe tomorrow. They walked through Itaewon, the international district where Ella felt slightly less foreign. Past the Nigerian restaurant where she couldn't afford to eat anymore. Past the African hair braiding shop where the aunties would whisper about her in Igbo when she passed. That girl. Alone with a baby. No husband. Shame. Let them whisper. Shame didn't kill you. But poverty did. But Ella hadn't always been this desperate. For years ago, she'd had everything. Ella was 23, standing in her family's living room, suitcase packed. 6 months, her father said, adjusting his glasses. He was an engineer, careful with numbers, careful with words. The contract in Seoul is 6 months. Your mother and I will come back for Christmas. I want to stay longer, Ella said. Her mother frowned. Ella, you don't speak Korean. You don't know anyone there. I'll learn. And I'll make friends. Papa, please. Her father exchanged a look with her mother. That parent telepathy Ella both loved and hated. 1 year, he finally said. You can stay 1 year. Experience the world. Then you come home and finish your degree. Ella hugged him so hard his glasses went crooked. She was their only child. Their miracle baby after years of trying. They'd given her everything. Education. Love. Hope. If she'd known that goodbye would be the last time she'd see them alive, she would have held on longer. Seoul was overwhelming at first. The lights. The language. The way people moved like schools of fish, coordinated and fast. Ella felt slow. Clumsy. Foreign. Then she met Sejun. Holiday Cafe. 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. She was struggling with a Korean menu, butchering the pronunciation. The barista looked annoyed. A voice behind her, she'll have an iced Americano. And I'll have the same. She turned. Korean guy, late 20s, wearing a business suit with the tie loosened. He smiled. You looked like you needed help. That obvious? Ella laughed. Little bit. I'm Sejun. Ella. He paid for her coffee. Asked if she'd been in so long. Offered to show her around sometime. She said yes, because he had kind eyes and her mother had always said trust kind eyes. 3 dates became 10. 10 became 20. Suddenly she couldn't remember Seoul before Sejun. He was patient with her terrible Korean. Laughed at her jokes. Held her hand walking along the Han River. My parents will love you, he said one night, 6 months in. You think. I know. You're smart. Beautiful. You make me better. She believed him. Her parents called from Lagos. We're extending the contract. Another year. Do you want to come home or stay? Ella looked at Sejun sleeping beside her in his apartment. Imagined a future. Marriage. Maybe kids. A life split between Nigeria and Korea. I'll stay, she told her parents. That decision saved her life. And destroyed it. 2 months later, the call came at 2 a.m. Her father's colleague. Voice shaking. There's been an accident. A truck. The highway to the airport. I'm so sorry. They didn't suffer. Ella didn't remember screaming. But Sejun told her later she screamed so loud the neighbors called the police. Both parents. Gone. Instant. She flew home for the funeral. Buried them in the red Nigerian soil. Watched her father's brothers circle like vultures. You're just a daughter, her uncle said. Under customary law, you have no claim. My father's will. There is no will. And even if there was, you're married out. I'm not married. Then you get nothing. They took the house. The savings. Her father's car. Even her mother's jewelry. Left her with nothing but a plane ticket back to Seoul and clothes that still smelled like her mother's perfume. Sejun was waiting at Incheon Airport. He held her while she cried in the arrivals hall. Whispered promises. We'll get through this. Together. I've got you. She believed him. 2 months later, Ella's period didn't come. She took the test in Sejun's bathroom. 2 pink lines. She walked out holding the test like it was a bomb. Sejun. He looked up from his laptop. Saw the test. His face changed. That's not mine. Ella laughed. Actually laughed. What? I don't know who you've been with. Are you joking right now? But that baby isn't mine. The room tilted. Sejun. I haven't been with anyone else. You know that. He stood. Closed his laptop. His face was stone. How much do you want? What? To go away. To get rid of it. How much? Ella felt something crack inside her chest. This is your baby. Our baby. He laughed. Cold. Cruel. You think I'm stupid? You think I don't know what you are? What I am? Nigerian girls come to Korea. Trap Korean men. Get pregnant for visa money. You think I don't know the game? I loved you, Ella whispered. You loved my money, he said. Your parents died. You got nothing. Now you need a new payday. I get it. Business transaction. He pulled out his wallet. Threw cash on the table. 500,000 won. Get rid of it. Or don't. But if I ever see you again, I'll call immigration. Ella's blood froze. What? Your tourist visa expired 3 months ago. You're illegal. I checked. He'd checked. He'd investigated her while sleeping in her bed. Stay away from me, Sejun said, putting on his jacket. Or I'll have you deported. And good luck raising a baby in Nigeria with no money and no family. He walked out. Ella stood in his apartment, not hers. She'd never signed a lease. Everything was his name, holding 500,000 won and a positive pregnancy test. That night, she packed the few things that were hers. Left his apartment. Never looked back. For years later, Ella had survived. Barely. She found a tiny Gazuan room, barely bigger than a closet. Worked 3 jobs while pregnant. Cleaning offices at night. Waitressing during lunch. Translating English documents for pennies. Korea didn't care that she was struggling. The city chewed up people like her and spit out the bones. But she'd had Lili anyway. Beautiful Lili. Who looked exactly like Sejun, which hurt every single day. Korean eyes. Korean features. A walking reminder of betrayal. But Ella loved her. God, she loved her so much it physically hurt. And now Lili was dying. The notification that changed everything came on a Tuesday. Ella sat on the subway, Lili asleep in her arms after the hospital visit. Her phone buzzed. Some spam ad probably. But the word caught her eye: urgent surrogacy needed. She clicked. Urgent. Surrogate mother needed. Compensation. 50 million won. All medical expenses covered. Requirements: healthy female, age 20 to 35, willing to carry pregnancy to term. Informational meeting, tomorrow, 2 p.m., Seoul Medical Center, room 304. 50 million won. Ella stared at the number until the train passed her stop. 50 million. That was 6 times what she needed for Lili's treatment. That was breathing room. That was life. She looked down at her sleeping daughter, at the tiny chest rising and falling with difficulty. Each breath a miracle. Each breath numbered. I'm sorry, baby, she whispered in Igbo. Mama's going to fix this. I promise. The meeting room was packed. 30 women, maybe 40. All Korean. All young, dressed carefully, sitting with straight backs and practiced smiles. Ella walked in, and every head turned. The room went silent. She was the only black woman in a sea of Korean faces. She felt it. The shock. The judgment. The whispers starting in Korean she'd learned to understand. Why is she here? Is she lost? They're not going to pick her. A woman in a white doctor's coat stood at the front. Dr. Kim. Middle-aged. Stern face. She looked at Ella, then at her clipboard, then back at Ella. Are you in the right place? She asked in Korean. Ella had learned enough Korean in 4 years of survival. Surrogacy meeting, she replied. I saw the advertisement. Dr. Kim frowned. This program is specifically for Korean surrogates. The advertisement didn't specify nationality. Murmurs rippled through the room. Some women looked uncomfortable. Others openly hostile. Dr. Kim sighed. Fine. Sit. But I'll tell you now, the family is looking for a Korean woman to carry their child. Ella sat anyway. Because 50 million won was worth the humiliation. Dr. Kim explained the program. A wealthy family. Terminal illness. Last chance for an heir. The surrogate would carry the baby to term using frozen sperm from the father. Upon delivery, full payment and contract termination. No contact with the family afterward. The compensation is 50 million won. 20 million upfront. 30 million after successful delivery. The room buzzed. That was serious money. However, Dr. Kim continued, the matching process is extremely specific. The father underwent cancer treatment that damaged his fertility. The frozen sperm has complications. We need genetic compatibility. We've tested over 50 candidates. None have matched. She looked around the room. Today, we'll do preliminary blood work. If you're compatible, you'll move to the next round. Questions. Hands shot up. Medical questions. Legal questions. Timeline questions. Ella raised her hand last. When do we know if we're selected? Dr. Kim looked at her with something close to pity. After testing. Which starts now. Ella didn't expect what happened next. They were taken to a medical floor in groups. Blood draws. Urine samples. Physical examinations. Genetic swabs. Hours of poking and prodding while nurses spoke in rapid Korean she couldn't fully follow. Afterward, Ella sat in a waiting room with the other candidates. No one spoke to her. She was used to it. Invisible until inconvenient. A nurse called names. Women left in groups. Park Minji. Kim Soo-young. Lee Hae-won. Thank you for your time. You're not compatible. The room got smaller. 20 women. 15. 10. More names called. More women eliminated. 5 women left. Then 3. Then just Ella. She sat alone, confused. Had they forgotten to call her name? Was she supposed to leave? The door opened. Dr. Kim stood there. But her expression had completely changed. Less stern. More shocked. Almost disturbed. Ella was led through private corridors. Past expensive art. To an elevator that required a keycard. They went up. Top floor. The doors opened to a private office. Massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul. Leather furniture. The kind of wealth that didn't need to announce itself. An older Korean woman sat behind a desk. 60, maybe 65. Elegant. Gray hair in a perfect bun. Wearing all black. Morning clothes. She looked at Ella with eyes like ice. Sit, she said in perfect English. Ella sat. The woman studied her for a long moment. Then spoke. My name is Madam Kong. My husband died 5 years ago. Cancer. The same cancer now killing my son. My only child. The last of our family line. She paused. Let that sink in. My son has months to live. Maybe less. His dying wish is a child. An heir. Someone to carry our name when he's gone. Madam Kong stood. Walked to the window. Looked out at the city her family probably owned half of. We froze his sperm before treatment. We've been searching for a compatible surrogate for 6 months. Tested 53 women. Korean women. Healthy. Young. Perfect candidates. She turned back to Ella. None of them matched. Not one. You matched. Ella's heart stopped. According to Dr. Kim, your genetic markers align with my son's in a way that's exceptionally rare. Something about antibody compatibility. Immune system interaction. Medical terminology I don't fully understand. Madam Kong walked closer. Loomed over Ella's chair. What I do understand is this. You are the only person on this earth who can give my dying son a child. Her voice dropped. Cold. Bitter. And you're black. Ella felt it. The weight of that word. The hatred underneath. I don't want you, Madam Kong said bluntly. I want a Korean woman carrying my Korean grandson. I want an heir who looks like my family. Who fits into our world. Who won't be stared at. Judged. Questioned. She leaned down. I level with Ella. But apparently, God has a sense of humor. Because you're all I have. Ella found her voice. I haven't agreed to anything. Madam Kong laughed. Sharp. Humorless. No. But you will. Because Dr. Kim told me you have a daughter. 2 years old. Lung disease. Severe. Terminal without treatment. Ella's blood went cold. How did she? I have resources, Madam Kong said simply. When someone walks into my program, I know everything about them within an hour. Ella Okonkwo. 27. Nigerian. Parents dead. No family support. Illegal work visa that expired last year. One child, Lili Okonkwo, age 2, father unknown. His name was Sejun, Ella said quietly. Couldn't help herself. Madam Kong raised an eyebrow. Korean father who abandoned you. How predictable. The cruelty was casual. Practiced. Your daughter needs 8 million won for treatment. You have 17,000 in your account. You're 3 months behind on rent. You work 3 jobs and still can't pay for food most days. She pulled out a contract. Thick. Legal. I'm offering you 50 million won. 20 million up front. Enough to save your daughter and live comfortably during the pregnancy. 30 million after delivery. She slid the contract across the desk. In exchange, you carry my son's child for 9 months. You deliver a healthy baby. And then you disappear. No contact. No rights. No claim. The child will be raised Korean. As a Kong, you will be forgotten. Ella had 30 seconds to decide, let her daughter die free or save her and sell 9 months of her life. I need the money now, Ella said. Not in installments. Now. Madam Kang's eyes narrowed. That's not how this works. Then find another match, Ella said. Standing. Calling the bluff. You said I'm the only one. So either you pay me what I need to save my daughter now or your son dies without an heir. Silence. Madam Kong stared at this poor Nigerian woman. This nobody. Daring to negotiate. Something flickered in her eyes. Not respect. But recognition. This woman was desperate enough to be dangerous. 15 million now, Madam Kong said. 5 million at 6 months. 30 million after delivery. Final offer. 15 million. Enough to save Lili. Enough to breathe. Deal. Papers appeared within minutes. Legal. Binding. Pages and pages of Korean and English outlining every detail. Ella read the key points. She would move into the Kong estate immediately. Medical supervision throughout pregnancy. No contact with biological father, the son. No parental rights. Baby would be raised as legitimate Kong heir. If she violated contract, she forfeited all payment and could face legal action. She signed. Each signature felt like selling a piece of her soul. Madam Kong watched. The procedure is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Embryo implantation. You'll stay at our estate tonight. Medical preparation required. I have a daughter. Bring her. Ella blinked. What? I'm not a monster, Madam Kong said coldly. Bring your child. We have space. She'll be cared for. Properly. Something you've apparently been unable to do. The insult landed. But Ella swallowed it. Thank you. Madam Kong handed her a cashier's check. 15 million won. Don't thank me. This is business. You're an incubator I'm renting. Nothing more. But the Kong estate would change everything Ella thought she knew about this family. The black Mercedes picked them up from Ella's Gaziwan. The driver's eyes widened when he saw the tiny room. One mattress. A hot plate. Clothes hanging from nails in the wall. This was where she'd been raising a child. Lili chattered excitedly in the car. She'd never been in something so fancy. Touched the leather seats. Pressed buttons. Laughed when the window went up and down. Mama, this car is magic. Ella tried to smile. But all she felt was dread. The Kong estate wasn't a house. It was a compound. Traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern luxury. Gates. Gardens. Staff who bowed when the car passed. Mama, Lili whispered. Is this palace? Something like that, baby. They were shown to a room. No, a suite. Bedroom. Private bathroom. A sitting area. More space than Ella had lived in for 4 years combined. Lili ran around, delighted. Mama. Big bed. And another bed. 2 beds. A housekeeper appeared. Middle-aged woman. Kind face. She bowed slightly. I'm Mrs. Park. If you need anything, call me. Dinner is at 7. Madam Kong expects you. Thank you. Mrs. Park hesitated. Then spoke quietly. The young master, he's very weak. Don't be frightened when you see him. He's still human underneath the sickness. Dinner was served in a formal dining room. Long table. Too much food for 3 people. Madam Kong sat at the head. Gestured for Ella and Lili to sit. Lili stared at the food. Bulgogi. Kimchi. Rice. Banchan dishes she'd only seen through restaurant windows. Eat, Madam Kong said. Lili looked at Ella. Ella nodded. The child ate like she was starving. Because she had been. Madam Kong watched. Her expression softened. Just slightly. How old? 2 years and 4 months, Ella said. She looks Korean. Her father. Where is he? Gone. Madam Kong nodded. Understanding that particular abandonment. What's her name? Lili, it means pure in Chinese. I know what it means. Madam Kong studied the child. Lilia. The little girl looked up. Smiled. Yes, how many? Grandmother. She'd called her grandmother. Something cracked in Madam Kang's face. Just for a second. Then it was gone. My son wants to meet you, she said to Ella. Tomorrow. After the procedure. He doesn't know yet that you're not Korean. Will that be a problem? For him? No. He's too gentle for hatred. Takes after his father that way. She said it like it was a weakness. And you? Ella asked carefully. Madam Kong met her eyes. I'll tolerate you because I have no choice. But don't mistake necessity for acceptance. The procedure happened at dawn. Clinical. Quick. Ella lay on a table while doctors worked with cold efficiency. Embryo transfer. Frozen sperm thawed. Implanted. Then waiting. Stay horizontal for 24 hours, Dr. Kim instructed. Let it take. Ella lay in the medical suite, staring at the ceiling, wondering what she'd just done. 2 weeks later, positive test. Madam Kong cried. Actually cried. And Ella was told, you'll meet him today. My son. The father. Nothing prepared her for Kong Jae-sung. He was in the sunroom. A beautiful space. Glass walls. Plants everywhere. Warm despite the Seoul winter outside. He sat in a wheelchair wrapped in blankets. 30 years old. Looked 60. Cancer does that. Steals everything. Youth. Strength. Future. But when he looked up and saw Ella, he smiled. And his eyes were kind. You must be Ella, he said in English. Soft voice. Weak but warm. Yes. Thank you. For doing this. For giving me this chance. He gestured at her belly. Not showing yet, but he knew what was growing there. Ella didn't know what to say. Lili, who'd followed her mother, peeked around Ella's legs. Kang's face lit up. And who's this? My daughter. Lili. Hello, Lili, he said in Korean. Lili, never shy, walked right up to him. Why are you in a chair? Lili. Ella gasped. But Kang laughed. Actually laughed. Because I'm sick. My legs don't work so good anymore. My lungs don't work good, Lili said seriously. But Mama's fixing them. Kang looked at Ella. Understanding passed between them. Mamas are good at fixing things, he said gently. Over the next months, a strange family formed in that house. Ella's belly grew. So did Lili's health. The 15 million won paid for treatment that actually worked. Stem cell therapy. New medications. Week by week, Lili's coughing stopped. Her color improved. She could run without gasping. And Madame Kang fell in love with her. It happened slowly. The old woman would watch Lili play in the garden. Started teaching her Korean properly. Bought her clothes. Toys. Read her bedtime stories. You're Korean, she'd tell Lili. You should know your heritage. Ella didn't point out the irony. That Madame Kang hated that Ella was black, but loved that Lili looked Korean despite having a Nigerian mother. Kang got weaker. The cancer spread. But he'd visit Ella's room. Sit. Talk. Not about heavy things. Just life. Does it hurt? He asked once, looking at her belly. 6 months pregnant now. Sometimes. But it's okay. I wish I could have done this the normal way, he said quietly. Met someone. Fell in love. Had a family. Normal things. Normal is overrated, Ella said. He smiled. You're kind. You didn't have to be. This is just business for you. Was it? Ella wasn't sure anymore. But at 8 months, everything changed. Ella woke to Madame Kang shaking her. We need to move the delivery up. Kang's declining faster than expected. The doctors say weeks. Maybe days. We need the baby born while he's still conscious. But I'm only 8 months. The baby's viable. We'll induce labor tomorrow. That's too risky. Madame Kang's voice broke. Please. I need my son to meet his child. Just once. Please. Ella had never heard her beg. Okay. Induced labor at 8 months is hell. Contractions that ripped through her body like knives. Hours of pain. Ella screamed in Igbo. In English. In sounds that weren't language. Madame Kang held her hand. This racist woman who'd called her an incubator. Held her hand and whispered, You're strong. Keep going. He's almost here. At 11:43 p.m., Ella gave birth to a son. Small. Premature. But breathing. Crying. Alive. Dr. Kim cut the cord. Cleaned him. Wrapped him. He's healthy, she said, shocked. Underweight but stable. They brought him to Kang's room immediately. Kang was in bed. Could barely lift his head. But when they placed his son in his arms, something miraculous happened. He cried. He's perfect, Kang whispered. Look at him. He's perfect. The baby was a mix. Korean features but darker skin than expected. Ella's genes making themselves known. Madame Kang stiffened, seeing the proof that her grandson was mixed. But Kang didn't care. What should we name him? Madame Kang asked. Jihoon, Kang said. It means wisdom and merit. He'll need both. For 2 months, Kang got to be a father. He held his son every day. Despite the pain. Despite the exhaustion. Jihoon became his entire world. Madame Kang hired a nursing team. But Ella stayed. Helped with feedings. Night wakings. She'd carried this baby. Couldn't just disconnect. Kang noticed. You don't have to do this. The contract says. I know what it says. Then why? Ella looked at baby Jihoon. Because he's a person. Not a transaction. Kang's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Kang holding Ji-hun during sunrise, singing him Korean lullabies in a weak, breaking voice. Ji-hun's tiny hand wrapping around Kang's finger. Lili meeting her little brother, kissing his forehead. Madam Kang watching her son finally happy. 2 months of borrowed time. 2 months of pretending cancer couldn't touch this. It started with a fever. Ji-hun had been fine that morning. Nursing well. Cooing. 2 months old and thriving. By noon, he felt warm. By evening, he was burning up. Something's wrong, Ella said. They called Dr. Kim. She came immediately. One look and her face went white. His skin is yellow. Jaundice. But not normal newborn jaundice. We need to get him to the hospital. Now. Seoul Medical Center. Pediatric ICU. The diagnosis came fast. Acute liver failure. Sudden. Catastrophic. No warning. How does that happen? Madam Kang demanded. Genetic condition. Dormant until triggered. We're not sure why it activated now. Can you fix it? Dr. Kim hesitated. We'll try. They tried everything. Medication. Dialysis for a 2-month-old baby. Desperate measures. Kang refused to leave. They brought him in a wheelchair. Hooked to his own dying man watching his dying son. I won't let him go through this alone, he said. Ella stood in the corner. Not family. Not legally anything. Just the woman who'd carried him. Madam Kang sat with her hands over her mouth. Silent tears. Hours passed. Ji-hun's breathing got worse. The monitors started screaming. We're losing him. Doctors descended. Tried to take the baby from Kang's arms. No, Kang said. Voice stronger than it had been in months. He's my son. I'll hold him. Sir. I said no. They worked around him. Chest compressions on a tiny body. Medication pumped in. But Ji-hun's breathing slowed. Stopped. A long, flat beep. No, Kang whispered. No, no, no. Dr. Kim's hand on Kang's shoulder. I'm sorry. He's gone. The sound Kang made wasn't human. It was the sound of a soul shattering. He held his dead son and screamed. Screamed until his voice broke. Until he couldn't breathe. Ella didn't remember crossing the room. But suddenly she was there. Her arms around both of them. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. She'd carried Ji-hun for 9 months. Felt him kick. Heard his heartbeat. Given birth to him. And now he was gone. Kang's body shook. He couldn't catch his breath. Sir? Sir, are you alright? The monitors connected to Kang started going crazy. He's coding. Get the crash cart. Madam Kang screamed. No, not both of them. Please. They tried. Chest compressions. Electricity. Medication. But Kang's heart had already given up. Grief had finished what cancer started. Time of death, 11:47 p.m. Father and son. Dead within an hour of each other. 3 weeks later, Ella stood at their grave. Rain fell softly on the Seoul cemetery. 2 names on one stone. Kang Jae-sung. Beloved son. Kang Ji-hun. Beloved grandson. Lili stood beside Ella, holding her mother's hand. Too young to understand. But quiet, sensing grief. Mama, why are we standing in rain? Saying goodbye, baby? To who? To family. Behind them, footsteps. Madam Kang approached. Black coat. Black umbrella. Face carved from grief. She stood beside Ella. Didn't speak for a long time. Finally, I tried to make you leave. Ella said nothing. After they died. I packed your things. Had the driver ready to take you to the airport. Back to Nigeria. Why didn't you? Madam Kang's voice cracked. Because Lili asked where you were going. And I couldn't. I couldn't lose her too. She looked at Ella directly. You and Lili. You're all I have left of him. Of Ji-hun. You carried my grandson. You were there when he died. She couldn't finish. Ella finished for her. Family. Madam Kang nodded. Tears falling. I don't deserve your forgiveness, she said. The things I said. The way I treated you. No, Ella agreed. You don't. Silence. But Lili deserves a grandmother. And you deserve to not be alone. So we stay. Not because I forgive you. But because grief is easier when it's shared. Madame Kong broke. Fully. This proud, racist woman sobbed in a cemetery rain. And Ella put her arm around her. Two women who'd lost everything. Finding each other in the ruins. Ella never expected to build a life from ashes. The Kong estate was quieter now. No medical equipment. No nurses. Just 3 people learning to be a family. Lili, now 3 years old, healthy and thriving. Running through the gardens. Calling Madame Kong Halmiani without prompting. Madame Kong, teaching Lili Korean history. Reading her bedtime stories. Smiling again. Rarely. But it counted. Ella, living in a liminal space. Not servant. Not daughter. But not quite family either. Something undefined. She still had nightmares. Woke up hearing Jihun cry. Saw King's face when his son died. But Lili's laughter helped. Madame King's quiet gratitude helped. The money helped too. 30 million won after delivery. Even after Jihun's death, Madame Kong had paid in full. It's not your fault, she'd said. You did everything right. But the past has a way of coming back. Mrs. Park answered the door. Madame Kong, there's a man here. Says his name is On Sejun. Claims he's here about his daughter. Ella's blood froze. Madame Kong looked at her. Understanding immediately. The father. Ella nodded. Do you want to see him? No. Then you won't. Madame Kong walked to the door. Ella followed, heart pounding. Sejun stood there. Older. Still handsome. Wearing an expensive suit. I'm here for my daughter, he said in Korean. You have no daughter here, Madame Kong replied. Ice in her voice. Lilian. I saw her picture. Online. Living in this estate. I'm her father. I have rights. You have nothing, Ella said, stepping forward. You denied her. Called me a liar. Threatened to have me deported. Sejun had the audacity to look ashamed. I made a mistake. I was young. Scared. But I've changed. I want to be her father now. Now that she lives with wealth, Madame Kong observed coldly. That's not. Get off my property. Or I'll have security remove you. I'm her biological father. I have legal rights. You surrendered those rights when you abandoned her mother while pregnant. Korean law is very clear. If you pursue this, I will bury you in legal fees you cannot afford. And I will make sure every person you know understands exactly what kind of man you are. Sejun's joy tightened. But he knew he'd lost. This isn't over, he said. Yes, Ella said quietly. It is. You were Lili's father for 5 minutes 4 years ago. You don't get to claim her now. He left. Ella's knees gave out. Madame Kong caught her. He can't take her, Ella whispered. He won't. I promise. Why are you helping me? Madame Kong looked toward the garden where Lili played. Because she's mine now too. And I protect what's mine. That night, Ella tucked Lili into bed. Mama, who is that man? No one important, baby. Halmiani said he was bad. Halmiani's right. Lili yawned. I'm glad we live here, Mama. It's nice. Yeah, baby. It's nice. After Lili fell asleep, Ella walked to Madame Kang's study. The older woman looked up from her desk. Thank you, Ella said. For protecting her. You don't need to thank me. She's family. Ella sat down. I need to tell you something. About what I did. Taking your money. Carrying Jihun for money. Sometimes I feel like I killed him. Like if I'd just let Lili die, if I hadn't been so desperate. Stop. Madame Kang's voice was firm. Jihun's death wasn't your fault. It was genetic. Random. Cruel. But not your fault. And if you hadn't agreed to carry him, my son would have died without ever holding his child. Without 2 months of joy. You gave him that. You gave me that. Whatever money changed hands, you earned it with grief. Ella cried. Finally. Fully. Madame Kong stood. Awkwardly patted her shoulder. We're both broken, she said quietly. But maybe broken people can build something new. For Lili. For Jihun's memory. Okay. Ella returned to the cemetery one last time. Rain again. Always rain. She knelt at the grave. I'm sorry I couldn't save him, she whispered to Jihun. I tried. I carried you. I loved you. I'm sorry it wasn't enough. Then to Kong, thank you. For being kind. For loving your son. For not hating me. She stood to leave. Behind her, Madame Kong and Lili approached. They knelt together. 3 generations bound by loss. Tell him goodbye, Lili, Madame Kong said gently. Bye-bye, baby, Lili said to the grave. Not understanding but trying. They walked back to the car together. A Nigerian woman. A Korean grandmother. A mixed child who looked Korean but spoke both languages. A family that shouldn't exist. Built on grief. Held together by stubborn refusal to give up. Some stories don't have happy endings. Ella didn't get the man. She got 2 graves and a check. Kong didn't get to watch his son grow up. He got 2 months. Madame Kong didn't get the pure Korean heir she wanted. She got a mixed granddaughter and a woman she once despised as a daughter-in-law without the marriage. But maybe that's what love looks like sometimes. Not romance. Not happily ever after. Just people choosing each other in the wreckage. And building something new from broken pieces. For the babies we carry. For the children we lose. For the families we choose when blood fails us. This story is for you. If this story broke your heart, share it with someone who needs to know they're not alone in grief. Subscribe to Afro Soul Romance Tales for more stories that don't look away from pain, because that's where real love lives.